So literally right as I made the previous video covering the second quarter earnings report that Roblox recently dropped, the stock was actively collapsing from $50 all the way down to $35 in real time. In that previous video, we went over how Roblox screwed over the discovery algorithm by basically pushing games that don't make enough money for the platform, and how disabling cross-experience game passes essentially killed popular donation games like Please Donate. But the moment that report officially hit the public, Roblox's stock price going all the way downhill basically proved that everything we talked about earlier was really just the tip of the iceberg. What we really need to break down today is the massive financial aftermath of that downfall, because the situation is escalating way faster than anyone had ever expected behind the scenes. So Roblox has essentially put out a public document confessing that they had no idea how to fix the economy they broke, which forced them to give up their financial predictions for the rest of the year. When you pull away your financial predictions, you're basically telling all the people who gave you money that you're literally flying blind and hoping for the best, which is one of the worst things you can ever do when it comes to trying to appeal to your investors. And the reason this specific detail is so important is because this is not the first time they've done something like this to the people who hold their stock. If you remember back in April, we saw a very similar situation happen where the first quarter report caused a lot of investors to panic and wiped out $6.7 billion because of the age verification updates failing. So we need to take a step back and do the basic math on what just happened this week so you can actually understand the true scale of the damage that the executives caused in a single day. Now, when the earnings report was released to the public on July 30th, the company's stock was trading at right around $50 for every single share on the market. Then by the time the huge panic settled down, and although frankly not so happy investors finished selling off their positions, the price had crashed all the way down to about $35 a share. So when you subtract those numbers, that's about a $15 drop for every single share that exists right now, just because the people running the platform cannot figure out how to keep their own economy stable while making all these unnecessary changes. But to actually understand how bad that is, you just have to look at the official numbers the staff just put out. The company currently has 752 million shares floating around the stock market right now, so if you get a calculator and multiply the $15 loss by those 752 million shares, you get almost $11.3 billion wiped out in an instant. And it's honestly hard to wrap your head around a number that huge just disappearing into thin air, just like that, because of a few bad algorithm updates and some very poorly timed safety features. When you take that $11 billion from July and add it to the $6.7 billion that vanished back in April, you start to realize how bad the bleeding really is for the corporation. The people in charge have basically destroyed over $17 billion in a very short amount of time, while constantly telling everyone that everything is going according to plan. All that money disappearing not only hurts executives sitting in their boardrooms pushing all these garbage updates, because the people who actually pay the price for these horrible decisions are the investors who trusted the company to grow their money. And right now, those investors are very angry about watching their savings go down the drain, while the platform continues to push updates that not a single developer even asked for or wanted. And this brings us to the really serious consequences of all this missing money, because there are some very real class action lawsuits happening right now against the company that are picking up a lot of traction across the internet. The original lawsuits that started rolling in after the first crash in the first quarter accused the management team of lying to the investors about the new safety updates being a smooth and easy transition. The legal teams are already arguing that the executives said the truth about how badly the age verification update was going to damage the daily active user count just to keep the stock price as high as possible. And the investors who lost all their money back in April were trying to prove that the company knew the updates would hurt their growth, but chose to tell Wall Street that the update was apparently the gold standard anyway. But the craziest part about this whole second quarter report coming out is that Roblox basically handed all those class action lawyers a massive written confession without even realizing what they were doing. By putting it in writing this week that their new safety updates and algorithm changes actually stopped new players from joining and lowered player spending across the platform, the company ended up proving the exact legal claims that the lawsuits were making in the first place. Back in February, David Bujiji promised all this smooth platform growth to everybody buying their stock, but this report shows that their own choices were the main cause of this massive crash. Because this official report pretty much gives them solid proof, many law firms are rushing out to find every single person who lost money on their shares, and they're posting public warnings all across the internet to let investors know that there's an official deadline on August 7th to step forward. If someone who bought some stock wants to act as a lead person in the court case against the corporation, they have to turn in their legal forms before the exact day, or else they miss their spot completely. Honestly, watching this corporate downward spiral over the last 9 months has been pretty insane to witness, because ever since last year, it feels like every single decision the executives make just sends the company further down the drain. You had the age verification situation back in the spring, then the algorithm updates that broke how the platform makes money, and now an $11 billion wipeout in a single day. At this point, I've really been wondering how much worse this can actually get, because if the stock is already crashing this hard right now, just imagine what happens if it drops even lower after this August 7th deadline passes. Because if these law firms manage to pull tons of angry investors together and drag the corporation to a massive court battle, things could get much worse for Roblox really fast. We've already seen Roblox hit a lot of bad slumps before, but losing billions of dollars in stock value every few months is not something a company can just ignore forever.